everybody, welcome back to my channel. There's a couple hummingbirds flying around in my garden. I was just going back down to check on the chickens again because I had a black sex link that was broody. So I gave her some eggs and she had 11 in there. And well, this morning she wasn't sitting on them and they weren't warm. There was a 12th egg in there. So I was going to collect them, and then one of my Rhode Island Reds got in one of the nest boxes, kicking it around, making a nest. So I offered her some eggs and she took them. And I just went down there to check on her because I did that like 40 minutes ago. And she's still sitting on them. So I'm not disturbing her. But I figured while I'm out here and it's nice out, I'm going to show you guys the garden a little bit. Make it a bit of a garden tour, even though it's gonna be like a quick overview because I'm gonna tear a good bit of this out soon. So that way I can start planting for the fall. And it's probably mostly going to be this one over here. I'll show you in a minute. But let's get started. And I have somewhere to be not too long from now. So I'm not going to make this long at all. I'm just going to try and quickly go through this. So it's not going to be like in-depth. But it might end up being in-depth because it's me and I get sidetracked. So we will see. I have an hour, so let's jump right in. So this area is looking a little sad. This is what was supposed to be my cucamelons, which I planted and told you guys about in a previous video. Well, slugs ate all the seedlings as they came up, so I didn't end up getting to replant them. I had to buy those started, and those started, so yeah, because slugs. But I've got some tomatoes here. They haven't really produced that well. I've got Cherokee purples. I don't even know what that one is. Cherokee purple. Okay. I've got squash here. Oh, look at that zucchini. I've got squash bugs and squash vine borers. So I haven't, I've had some squash that I've lost. Then I've got Black Beauty, which they're not doing great. I'm not going to put tomatoes next to the house again because I don't think they get enough sunlight. Then I've got these Black Beauty, Dr. Witchy's Yellow. And then I've got Paul Robeson, which I think is my favorite so far. I've got my sunflowers that came up. They're so beautiful. And then on that side, I've got crimson's? No, not crimson spineless. Burgundy okra. But did you hear that? That was my knee popping. So to this one, we have some very beautiful sunflowers. Look at the bees. I've got two different types of watermelon, cantaloupe, and spaghetti squash down here. Yeah, are these not beautiful? I'm gonna save all of them for the chickens, so soon I'll have to put netting, bag it around the heads of these sunflowers so that way birds don't eat the seeds. This is going to get torn out soon. I've got Brad's Atomic Grapes, which you can see some of them rotted on there. I just let them go because I barely got to eat like 2 or 3 of them because they wouldn't even be ripe and they would be splitting. So then I've got Queen of the Night, which I got to try a couple of those, but they've done the same thing. And then I've got watermelon. Look at this. Aren't they beautiful? Those, if I can, sugar baby watermelon. And then I've got some like volunteer tomatoes that haven't done anything. And then these really tall ones. This is squash that I purchased from my local nursery. Not squash, that's not squash, that's cucumber. That is cucumber that I purchased from my local nursery. And then over here, I've got this whole side is volunteer tomatoes. They're okay. They haven't produced a lot, but the cucumbers also took over in the weeds. But this is the one that I don't have like any trellises or anything on or fencing. So what I'm gonna do with this one is I will plant my fall crops, and I've got hoops and netting, and I'll put it over there so that way nothing gets to them at the moment. I've got this mess that needs to be cleaned up. I bought that last year and I made a video of me putting it together. Already rotted and broke. I even tried getting it to hold together with screws, but do not recommend. It's the 3-tier one from Walmart, the Expert Gardener brand. Then I've got this full of peppers that decided they really didn't want to produce. Then I've got my mint and spearmint over here. I've got green beans in this bed with weeds. It did have onions and celery, but that one right there used it as a litter box. So I've just got the green beans over there. Then this is where my spoon tomatoes were, but I tore them out with my mom the other day. They took over my peppers. That was a mistake to plant the peppers on the shady side of the tomato plants. Those, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Then I've got Barry's Crazy Cherry and all my Chinese red noodle beans, which I'm letting go to seed so that way I can collect them from next year and give them away to some friends, because I'm not the biggest fan of them. Then I've got more green beans here that I planted at the beginning of the season, and they're finally coming up. And I've got lemon cucumber over here that I planted. Let me move this out of the way. It's got ants and stuff all over it, and I don't want to have that on me. So I've got peppers. These have taken off since tearing those tomatoes down. This one is a habanero plant. Hopefully it produces. I've got jalapeno. I've got like red bell pepper over there, but it's like dying. I've got cayenne. I've got some different types of bells that I planted from seed. And then these died over here as well, but this one seems to be doing pretty good. I think it's it's a banana pepper. This one's a banana pepper. All these are supposed to be banana peppers. Weeds kind of took over. These are my paste tomatoes. I've got Jersey Devil and Amish paste. And then I've got eggplants, which started producing and then decided they all wanted to die. Not the eggplant plant itself, but the eggplant. So this is my cherry tomatoes, and then I have one bread and salt right here. I've got green doctors, not a fan of them. I've got black cherry, my favorite cherry so far this year. I've got super sweet 100s and sun sugars. And I've got some volunteers on this end, and I planted potatoes. Like, they died. I had volunteer basil. Not sure what kind of basil this is, so if you guys know, let me know. I've got okra that I accidentally dropped a seed right there, and it's actually more stout looking than the okra over here, which I need to pick. I've got 2 crimson spineless plants, which are kind of puny. I bought those started, and then I started all of these Star of David from seed. That's one of the Star of David. I put the pack over there, and then when I picked it up, everything fell out. Here is my glass of gem corn. It's really tall. Like really, really tall. And then I've got some flowers that volunteered in here. Because like I said before, I got this compost from the local garden center, and I really need to take care of these weeds because I actually weeded this a couple weeks ago and it's taken over again. I've got some volunteer lemon basil in here as well. I know that's lemon basil because it smells like lemons. And then next year, this gets a bed of its own with a fence because that's insane. This is red ripper cowpeas. Then I've got sweet potatoes here. I tore out that one sweet potato plant and I only got 2 sweet potatoes out of the whole thing, but you know, that's something. That's 1 sweet potato for me and 1 sweet potato for my husband. So there's this. I really need to harvest that. But I'm gonna go around because those cowpeas have ants all over them, and I don't want to deal with that today. So I literally have left these on here for like 2 days and they're already like super huge. So I actually absolutely love this Star of David. So I think I might let those couple ones go to seed. So that way I can harvest some more seeds because I am pretty much out just from planting all these. Like I said, these cowpeas are insane. The amount of bushiness they took over. I think I only planted like 8, and I could have planted more. I'm not sure, but it took over. It took over my gourds. I had monster gourds that I put in here, and I don't even know if any are producing because they're not really getting light. But I have green striped pumpkins in here. You can see that they are all over the place. I've got birdhouse gourds. I grew these when I was a teenager and I absolutely loved them, so I wanted to grow them again. I've got these. Like I said, this green striped pumpkin is everywhere. And then I had butternut squash over here, and I had 1 start and then the cowpeas choked them out. So then up this trellis I've got loofah. That's what that is. I've got scarlet runner beans that have been blooming, and then oh look, I finally have some. It's been blooming for months, like 2 months now, and that is the first bean that I've seen. So I've got, this is another birdhouse gourd right there, and then I've got this for the pollinators. And I just realized that these have been eaten off, so I think deer might be getting into the garden. And then those are volunteer tomatoes. And I have one of these pumpkins. Got a hold of my, there we go. See these cowpeas? They took over my trellis too. They are just everywhere. I'm waiting for those pods to dry out so that way I can harvest them. I keep pulling off several to harvest because it's very relaxing for me. But you can tell like that right there is the loofah if it wants to focus on it. There we go. This is the loofah plant. So they're over there just having a blast. And then I've just got this for the pollinators. And like I said, I've got my cherry tomatoes right here. I need to harvest them. I'll give you a better look at this right here. I've got a bunch of different peppers and some bugs got to them. So they ate the tops off, and yeah. But I do have some blooms on my jigsaw pepper, which is nice. And then look at this pepperoncini plant. Look at how tall that is. So yeah, I mean, my garden looks like a hot mess because of all the weeds, but it also is really good. I'm letting this go to seed so that way I can save pickling cucumber seeds for next year, because I absolutely loved these cucumbers. I got them from, like I said, the local garden store. So all the cucumbers that are on here, I'm just gonna let go to seed now, and I will harvest them in about a week or two. And that, my friends, is the in-ground garden. Up my steps, I've got some starts from the local nursery. I just got cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, and cabbage. Was it cabbage? No, collards. I got collards. And then it's still a little bit of a hot mess out here. Those stopped producing. I've got these. The strawberries never came up. My blackberry bushes are doing pretty good. All of my blueberry bushes are out front. And then I've got some basil over here. But this is how it's looking. And I'm pretty happy with it. Before I go inside, I wanted to show you. I know I'm letting them cure outside, but these are my sweet potatoes, and actually, like, they got eaten up in ground, so I'm probably not going to be able to eat them. But a lot of this stuff has gone to the chickens towards feed, so it's kind of a win-win for me. I get to eat it, my chickens get to eat it. I'm happy. So my mom and I actually put this up because we were out here picking the spoon tomatoes. I cut down the plants and just pulled them up onto the porch, and we were sitting in the little bit of shade that there was, and my mom was like, you know what would be good? This thing. And I was like, yeah, it would, because we were doing it in like the heat of the day. So yeah. So that's why this is up here, and it's been staying up here, and it's actually quite glorious. Like, it's nice. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, my little garden tour. I hope you have a blessed day. Bye.